to get you in the mood for reading if you're in a reading slump, or if you just feel like fitting a quick book in, or if you're not feeling like reading a whole series or anything like that and you just want a quick book to read. I've got some recommendations for you. Most of the books that I'm going to talk about are around 300-ish pages, some a little less, some a little more, but yeah, all relatively short, easy reads. I've got a wide range of genres. I've got romance, I've got a couple of fantasy. Fantasy is a bit hard because most of them are series. I do have a couple over here that are part of a series, but the books in the series aren't too long. I've got some thrillers and I've got some literary fiction as well. So we'll go through them together tonight. Alright, let's get started. So I wanted to start with two of my favourite books that I've read this year. And that is When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Now these are both small town romances. They're both clean romance. So if you don't like spice, these will be perfect for you. The first book is about a movie star and a small town guy. He runs a bakery and she ends up breaking down while driving through a small town, and then ends up staying at this guy's house, and romance ensues from there. And this one gives off really big Gilmore Girls vibes. If you're a Jess fan. So she is the sister of the guy in the first book, and he is the bodyguard of the woman in the first book, so because she's the movie star, and that's how they meet. And she's like the good girl of the town, kind of like Rory and Gilmore Girls, and he definitely falls first, and it's honestly so cute. I loved this one. This one was my favourite of the two. I know a lot of people like this one better, but for me it was this one. But both really cute, really good rom-com-y books. Definitely good for you if you're like in a reading slump and you just want an easy romance. And let me tell you, just because there isn't spice in it, there was still like that tension and all the good stuff that you get from a romance. So I would definitely recommend these two books if you haven't read them already. Next, we will stick with the clean romance theme, and this is also a book I've read relatively recently. This is The Bodyguard. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. Now this one is also, so he is a movie star and she's his bodyguard. So a little bit of a role reversal with the bodyguard from the previous one. But this one is a super cute rom-com as well. Pretty like predictable, you know. You know what's gonna happen in most of these, but that's the good part about it. Super easy to read. Now this one involves a fake dating trope, so she pretends that she's dating him because this one to you because I'm not 100% sure exactly what it's about. Struggling artist Sadie Montgomery never saw what was coming, literally. One minute she's celebrating the biggest achievement of her life, placing as a finalist in a prestigious portrait competition. The next she's lying in a hospital bed diagnosed with a probably temporary condition known as face blindness. She can still see, but every face she looks at is now a jumbled puzzle of disconnected features. As she struggles to cope, hang on to her artistic dream, work through major family issues and take care of her beloved dog Peanut, she falls in love, not with one man, but two. The timing couldn't be worse. I've heard people say that they really enjoyed it. I have heard a couple of people say that this leans a little bit more literary fiction in this one than her other book. But again, I haven't read it, so not 100% sure, but this one is really high on my TBR, so we'll definitely read this when I'm in the mood for a nice, short, easy read. Next, I'm going to talk about Lynn Painter and her books. I absolutely love Lynn Painter as her author. This book here is The Do-Over. Then this one is a YA romance rom-com, and this one is about, it's like Groundhog Day, where the main character is living Valentine's Day over and over again in a loop, and so she keeps spending the same day over and over again, and this guy from her school keeps appearing every day, and she keeps spending more and more time with him, but obviously he doesn't remember it because the day keeps repeating. But of course it has a happy ending, so really enjoyable YA romance. So again, clean, and I would have recommended Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter as well, because that's my all-time favourite book of hers, and honestly my all-time favourite YA rom-com. But it is a bit longer than 300-ish pages, so I won't recommend that one, but if you haven't read it, just read it. But we've also got here The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. Now this one is one of her adult romances, so this one does have spice in it, but equally amazing writing by Lynn Painter. Loved this one, really enjoyed it. Definitely rom-com-y. This one is about these two people end up wagering if whoever finds love first on Tinder, or whatever the equivalent of Tinder is called in this book, wins a bet that they make. So obviously they set out to find love with other people, but there is a little bit of fake dating in this one as well. Pretty sure they go to a wedding together and they're pretending to be a couple. So fake dating, nice, easy, short read. Would 100% recommend anything by Lynn Painter. proximity, she ends up becoming his assistant, live-in assistant, I'm pretty sure. And they don't like each other at the start. She thinks he's like a player, he's rude to her, all this stuff, and he doesn't want anything to do with her either, but there's a backstory there as to why. But yeah, really, really enjoyable. I've read 3 of the 4, I want to say, of these this internet connected standalones, and they're all really enjoyable. So would recommend. Next, I have here this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book cover. This is one of my favourite book covers that I have. As you can see, it's like a face, and there's mountains. I love it. But this is book 1 in the Edens series, and this one is Indigo Ridge by Devaney Perry. And this one is a small town romance. This is part of an interconnected standalone series as well, where each Eden sibling has their own book. I've only read the first one, which is this one, but this one I really, really enjoyed. I have the second one here as well. Honestly, if you just wanted to buy them for the covers, I would totally understand. Look how pretty. So pretty. But this first one is about a woman. She's a policewoman, and she comes and moves to a small town. And then obviously she meets the guy there. And this one actually has a subplot of murder mystery, which I really, really liked about it. I liked how it was just a little bit different than all the other romances that I've read. So a body is found on a property, and so the book goes along with her finding out who murdered that person, as well as a romance. So yeah, really would highly recommend this one, especially if you like murder mystery, thrillers, and romance. It's all together in this one book. Okay, next let's move on to a couple of literary fictions that I've read. I haven't read a huge amount, but these couple I really enjoyed. And again, nice and short, easy reads. So this one is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. And this one is about a writer who's having trouble getting her books picked up by any publishing houses. No one seems to like her writing, but she is friends with a writer who's getting a lot of notoriety, a lot of recognition, just bestseller everywhere at the moment. But her friend ends up dying, and she steals one of her finished manuscripts and makes the book her own, pretends she's written it. And the story follows her getting published and just all the ethical ramifications after that. This book made me feel uncomfortable, but that's the point. It just made you feel like, why does she keep doing the things that she's doing? But also made you think, would you do the is she gonna get caught? All these kind of things. So really, really enjoyable book for me, and it was just interesting as well, learning about the writing industry and what you have to do to get your book published and everything that goes from there, like marketing, social media, all these things that you don't really think about when reading books. Just how much effort and all that goes into getting this book in your hands, so I found that really interesting as well. So I would definitely recommend. Another literary fiction book I read a little while ago is The Midnight Library by Matt Shea. I read this quite a while ago, but I just remember the feelings it evoked. It made you think, made you maybe realize what you have right now in life is good, and you shouldn't be thinking about all the what ifs, like what would have happened if I did this or if I did that. I might read the synopsis to you so I don't spoil anything. Between life and death there is a library, and within that library the shelves go on forever. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be if you had another choice. Would you have done anything different if you had a chance to undo your regrets? A novel about all the choices that go into a life well lived. Somewhere out beyond the edge of the universe there is a library that contains an infinite number of books, each one story of another reality. One tells the story of your life as it is, along with another book for the other life you could have lived if you had many different choice, if you had made a different choice at any point in your life. While we all wonder how our lives might have been, what if you had the chance to go to the library and see for yourself? Would any of these other lives be truly better? Nora Seed finds herself faced with this decision, faced with the possibility of changing her life for a new one, following a different career, undoing old breakups, realizing her dreams of becoming a glaciologist. She must search within herself as she travels through the Midnight Library to decide what is truly fulfilling in life and what makes it worth living in the first place. Next, let's move on to thrillers. Now I've got to recommend The Housemaid, one of my favourite thrillers I've read this year, and yeah, such an easy read. Frida McFadden, I've read 3 books of hers so far now, and they're all really, really enjoyable thrillers and also quite short. So would definitely recommend hers for an easy fly-through read that just keeps you on your toes the whole time. If you don't know what The Housemaid is about, this is about a woman who needs to find a job, and she's, having a bit of trouble finding somewhere that will accept her because of her past. And she ends up getting hired to be a housemaid in a household, and the wife of that household treats her like crap, and she starts also getting feelings for the husband of the household as well. So you can only imagine how that can turn out. Probably not so good, but you'd have to read to find out. easy, awesome thrillers, then I have to recommend Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors. Now this one I've read quite a while ago, but it still pops up in my head every now and then, and I think, oh, that was such a good book. Would 100% recommend you read this, even if you don't like thrillers. Just read it, it might change your mind. The twist for me in this one, there's no way I was guessing it. It was really good, it shocked me, and just kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time. So this book is about a married couple, and they win a trip to Scotland somewhere to like be in this house, like castle or something along those lines, for a free trip away kind of thing. And they're going through some marriage problems, so they decided to, one last ditch effort to try and fix their marriage. They're going on this trip. But the twists and turns in this just so good. The setting's creepy. There's letters that she's slowly reading throughout the book as well. They kind of reveal little tidbits each time and keeps you guessing as well. And yeah, honestly, one of my favourite thrillers I've ever read. Definitely read this one. Next, with the thrillers. Sorry, I don't own a lot of thriller books in person. I usually listen to a lot of my thrillers on Audible. But we do have No Exit by Taylor Adams. And this one is about a woman who is stuck at a rest stop. It's like blizzarding outside. She's stuck in there because of the snow. She can't go anywhere, with a group of strangers, and she ends up going outside and seeing that there's a child locked up in a cage in a van or a car. And obviously she realizes the child is being kidnapped in a car, and the story is about her figuring out whose car it belongs to and why they've kidnapped this child. So it spans over just one night. Really, really enjoyable. Keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. And lots of nice twists in this one too. Next we have The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. 15 years ago, a group of people were murdered. So there was 4 people working a night shift at a Blockbuster store, and 3 of them were murdered, and there was only 1 survivor. And then 15 years in the future, so that would be the present in the book, the same thing happens, but at an ice cream store, I'm pretty sure. So there was 4 people working the night shift, 3 people are murdered, and there's only 1 survivor. And in both of the accounts, the 1 survivor hears the killer say the same thing to both of them, so they believe the same person is back killing again. And it just follows finding out who this person is, why they're doing it, why they leave a survivor, all that fun stuff. I listened to this one quite a while ago, but still think about this one as well, so would definitely recommend this to you. The last thriller I want to recommend that I have read, this one is a little bit more dark, so I'd look up trigger warnings for this one. But that is Jar of Hearts this one is about a girl who was murdered back in the day, and someone was sent to jail for it, but in the present, people are getting murdered again in the same way that they were getting murdered back then, but the person is still in jail for those murders. So they're like, is it a copycat, or was that person never put in jail? Was the wrong person put in jail? You will have to read it to find out. But again, this one is quite dark, so check your trigger warnings. Let's talk about a fantasy book that I have read recently. Scarlet Princess by Robin D. Marl and L. Madison. Now this one is the first book. There is 4 books in this series, so I guess if you're going to read them all, it's obviously a bit longer, but if you wanted a fantasy book that's not 800 pages long, I would definitely recommend this one. This one is YA fantasy, so clean, no spice in this one. But I'm really enjoying this series so far. It does follow a woman who is accidentally trapped, I guess you would say, on enemy territory. So she was walking through a tunnel with her cousin, and the tunnel caves in, and that's the only way for her to get back to her kingdom. And it is about her trying to survive, I guess. Obviously she meets a guy, and they can't fall for each other because they're on separate lands. They're enemies, you know. But I also want to point out that there is not just like one love interest, there's definitely 2. So if you don't like it when there's more than, if you don't like a love triangle-y type thing, maybe don't go for this one.